is brought to you by Jig Masters. Step up your game with high-quality performance jigs, spinner baits, buzz baits, and more from jigmasters.com. And always, when in doubt, get the jig out.
Welcome to The Reel Down on Paddle and Fin with your hosts, Dan Perry and Jimmy Skinner, where we talk about everything tournament kayak fishing. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Reel Down on Paddle and Fin. We're back live. We took the winter off and now we're back doing the live thing at 8:30 Central, our regular time, right after the KBN guys, they do their thing and then we do ours. How you doing, Jimmy?
Pretty good, man. What's up with you?
Man, just living the dream, ready. I went down to Seminole this weekend, ready to go back here Wednesday morning, go and wake up at the crack and head on down there and just ready to get going, ready for that first big tournament of the year, I'm ready to put a hurting on them, ready to get some revenge on them fish. It was tough last year and maybe, we can talk about it, talk it out tonight and try to figure out what I did wrong. I don't know, probably not, but maybe I can get some secrets out of these guys. They got second and fourth, so I'm hoping maybe I can get a secret. Probably not, but I'm gonna try. So
I say you're asking a lot considering they're both, signed up for the event too. So
yeah,
you never know. I'm pretty good at getting stuff out of guys. They don't realize they're giving up information. So
it's not going to happen, but I'm going to keep my hopes up.
Oh yeah. Well, for anybody coming down for that tournament that's traveling, if you're coming through Georgia, make sure to stop by the dugout. They've still got the paddle and fin deal going on right now with the regular purchase price of a St. Croix Legend Extreme rod, get you the free Shimano SLX XT. I'm sure by now this deal's been going on for a while, so the availability of certain styles and ratios is probably running out. So stop by, let them know that you heard from Dan and I on here on The Reel Down, and get that while you can. And again, if you can't make it down there, give them a call, mention us, and they'll hook you up.
Yep. The dugout, if you haven't been there, no matter what you need, if that last minute stuff, especially if you have a Hobie, they have a lot of Hobies in stock. So if you got a janky kayak and you're like, man, I've been wanting to upgrade, you can upgrade on the way down too. So, I mean, if you got money like that, you got the taxes back already, you can stop by a dugout and Jamie will rig you up on the way down. You'll be ready to go for the Hobie and a new Hobie. So, and that's the thing. We got news. Hobie, all kinds of stuff like it's a winter. Nothing happened all winter. Boom. First show live. Hobie got sold. Yeah, I mean, that's...
Oh, wow. Apparently I missed this.
Yeah. Hobie got sold to a private equity firm. I mean, that's the talk of the town in like the Hobie forums. I creep on I don't have a Hobie, but I creep on the Hobie forums. So that's apparently Hobie got sold to a private equity firm. That's the news on the streets. So I don't know who the private equity people. I don't even know what I have an MBA. I don't even know what a private equity firm is. It's just people that buy other firms, so other companies. So there you go.
Well, guess we'll see what they do then, or if they do anything. Maybe they just saw an opportunity to make some money.
Yeah, that's right. Hobie's worldwide. But we got some people chiming in here. We got Jeremy Baker, and we got Frankie P.
Oh, I see old Todd Patrick in there.
Yeah, Todd too.
Todd,
what's up? It's nice having our first live show, having people back in it. But another big one was KBF had their big tournament. The multi-layers. There's layers of tournaments all happen all at one time. You got the KBF Kissimmee day one, then you have KBF Kissimmee day two, and then you have Invitational. And now you have the 10. So it's a whole bunch of tournaments going on all at once. And good luck, because you can't figure out who won because it's chaos. It's fishing chaos. Nobody knew how to work that out. There's problems. So I think that's generally accepted. Like, it's not Tourney X, but hey, they'll get better. We're going to root for them.
I sure hope so, because I won't lie. I gave up. I was trying my best. And when I finally got to where I needed to be, they had pulled the leaderboard down, and I was just like, someone will call me and tell me. So, and to my surprise, I still didn't know until like I knew about Russ, and that was about it until about an hour ago. So
Yeah.
it's been kind of weird.
I mean, I'm not going to talk smack about it because I wasn't in the event. I know as an outside, we get the results at tournaments at the end of every show. Every tournament over 30 people, we like shout them out on show. It's what we do on a reel down. It's our thing every single week. That's what we do because people like to hear their name. They won a tournament. They like to hear their name on a show. That's what we do. It was hard for us just going in that app and trying to figure it out. So just us casually doing it, that was difficult. That's it,
They'll get it worked out.
Yeah, they'll get worked out. Hopefully it'll be less chaos. That's it.
What we got tonight, man?
Yeah, that's right. So tonight we have two of the best anglers in the country. We're going to be talking about Hobie Lake Seminole. We have last year they got second and fourth. Second place we have Josh Counce, and we have Jason Broach. He got fourth place. So thanks for being on show, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, man.
Yeah, so I'll go over how you did last year. We'll go ahead and get that out of the way. We didn't have you on last year. I don't know why. I think we didn't have a Hobie show. KBN did a show, and then we ended up not doing one. But day one, Josh, you had the big bag of the tournament with 101.5. Jason, you had 74.25. Day two, Josh, you had 77.25. And then Jason followed big day two, 94 inches. And Josh ended up with second with 178.75, 1 inch behind Jake Harshman, who ended up winning. And Jason in fourth with 168.25. I kind of looked at this like, man, that tournament was so brutal. Like 175 inches would have gotten you, or what was it? 150 would have gotten you fifth place.
Wow.
That to me, like, a 75-inch day is like a good base. That's like the basic bag.
That's kind of where you start looking to get your kickers. Yeah.
That was fifth out of 125 people.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
It was painful.
It was painful for me. It was tough.
Day two was tough. Very tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody, because you caught that 101 inches, you had caught in that early in the event, right?
Very early, like 30 minutes in. I made a call at like 45 minutes in, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, first two casts, I caught a 5-pounder. It was crazy.
I remember looking at like, dude, practice was so tough for me. I was on the struggle bus. I was trying to figure it out, and I thought I'd just look at it just for the fun of it. I was like, man, hopefully, I need other people to be in this difficultness with me too. And I look at it, and this a-hole's got 101 inches.
Dude, I'm telling you, nothing kicks my confidence is like when you're rolling out there and like I'm just pulling up to my spot. Sometimes I'll do that and I'll go ahead and check Tourney X, which I don't do that anymore because of things like this. But first get to my spot, pull it up, and somebody's already slammed 100 inches. It's almost enough to send me back home. Like, well, I'm not even going to waste my time.
It's hard to keep a positive attitude when you see something like that. I never look at it. I just did the math in my head, and I'm like, oh, I got like 100 inches. Holy crap. And I never looked at it. I didn't even look at it all day. I didn't look. My wife, I found out exactly what I had when I got the check-in. I didn't even look at it.
You got 100 inches. You don't have to look. And I know why you were so good.
Yeah, but I was expecting someone else to have 103 or 105.
Well, I could tell you're so good because that map study back behind you. You got everything pinpointed out, man.
No. Yeah, that's airspace. That didn't really do us much good.
Well, I want to kind of, so y'all are both registered again. You both did well last year. Kind of talk about a little bit about the lake, how you prepared going in last year, and what you're going to do, whether it's fish history or similar, or how you prepare for this trip. Either one of y'all can start. Just let us know. Oh, bump on the table.
If anybody has any questions, please ask the questions in the comments, and we'll be happy to ask these guys and get it in the conversation.
Yeah, I'll let Josh go first.
No, I want you to go first. I want to know what you're doing to practice this year.
I mean, practicing last year, I had 3 days on the water before the tournament, and the first 2 days, I mean, I think I caught a fish each day. And then that last practice day I had that Friday, I looked up and found an area that I got bit deep, or at least deep for me, like 10 feet of water, and had a quick shallow bite, and it ended up turning out to be something that worked. I mean, it wasn't productive at all. It was still a struggle. I think 5 keepers the first day and maybe 6 or 7 the second day. So, I mean, when you get those bites, when you had the bites last year, you had to capitalize on them. At least I did. And so far, I spent 3 days this year pre-fishing for it. And, yeah, it's 3 weeks ago. It was a struggle again. I think 4 fish throughout, spending the whole day on the lake. And up there this Sunday, and it was tough again. So I think it's gonna be pretty similar to last year. The fish are probably deep, at least the density wise, but I think it'll still be one shallow. When you throw anything moving, you're not gonna get a lot of bites. When you get them, you need to capitalize on it. So preparing for it, it's all about map study for me at this point. Just trying to find something that's gonna suit me, throwing a chatterbait, dragging a worm somewhere, and things like that.
And what kind of maps are you using? Just Google Earth, Navionics, Lake Master?
I look at about every single one you can think of. Bing, Navionics, Bing, Google Earth, historical images going back to black and white images even.
Yeah.
Trying to study the lake when it's drawn down and things like that, and how vegetation changes, and just putting it all together, and
It's the hard part, man.
You got a PhD. Like, I don't think anybody is getting more like technical than you are on this, right?
I mean, I don't do it as much, but when I first started my master's and PhD, I mean, I would look up scientific publications for anyone who did, experiments or studies on the lake, and I mean, you could find little honey holes potentially like that, like a TVA lake, where some scientists went out and studied, different species of shell. Well, I mean, he just told you if you put, those GPS coordinates where you can find a shell bed on Kentucky Lake. And I used to do things like that, and, it's something everyone can do. Just, go to a Google Scholar, type in, Kentucky Lake bass fishing or Lake Seminole submerged aquatic vegetation, and you can find all kinds of studies. And if it looks like something you might benefit from it, read it. If you got someone in college that, has access to all those journals, tell them, hey, get me this publication so I can read it. But
I just want you to know I thought that I was really good at my map game and finding historical information, and I just realized how far below that bar I am, so thank you.
Well, Jason's a scientist,
You can find occasional little good nuggets like that, and especially TVA lakes that are well studied. Lakes in Florida are pretty well studied, and there's some gems out there.
Awesome.
How about you, Josh? How are you prepping?
Well, last year
you live right by there, right? Not too far.
It's about an hour, so I live close, but probably closer than anybody that's signed up, I would say. And last year I started, I think 2 weeks before Christmas. I just started going up there every weekend. I really don't fish Seminole a whole lot. I've lived in this area since we moved here in 2015, and I really don't fish it a whole lot. But I just started going every weekend and just going up and covering water. And really, I focused on the Florida side last year because I didn't want to buy a Georgia license. I'm cheap. So, but this year I actually have a Georgia license, so I bought one earlier in the year.
It's a whole new world for the man this time.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean I'm going to Georgia, but so I just started fishing every weekend, started covering water, and actually, I think I did. Even in that time, I caught fish here and there. I never really slaughtered them or anything like that. You know, I would, you know, I was catching fish different. I caught some, you know, here and there. Most of that was on, you know, fishing around lily pads and stuff, and it wasn't really anything major until the Sunday before. And I just came back by, and really all I had was that one small area. I came back by it on the way back to the ramp. I threw up there and caught one that was probably 5.5. I got in, took it off, threw it back again, caught another one. And then I was like, yeah, I think this is probably good. And I kind of worked around some other areas there and kind of figured out some stuff. And, you know, that was kind of the downfall, is I didn't have anything great to fall back on. I kind of did, but it wasn't anything special. And then, you know, when we get to day 2 and it got tougher, you know, I just kept, you know, I fished what I had, the small area. I caught 4 keepers off of it on Sunday, but I didn't have anything else because I spent too much time working it, you know, and
Right.
you know, it's just the way it goes. So
Are you taking that like that fact right there? Are you trying to give yourself a plan, you know, like a fallback plan this go around?
Yes, and I look back at all the tournaments I fished last year, and actually throughout my life, every 2-day tournament, just examining that back even before when I was fishing bass boat stuff, I seem to always do well the first day, and then the second day not be able to follow it up. So I've covered a lot more water than I did. You know, this year I've covered a lot more water and fished a lot more stuff, eliminated a lot more stuff than I did last year, because I want to have more than one thing.
Oh yeah.
So
it's getting to it now, man. You're going to have to be able to compete with these
you
guys.
might show up and be 5 people where you want to go, and I kind of you have to expect that, because everyone that fishes, especially a Hobie series, everyone that fishes is good, and they will find anything. There's no secrets, because someone will find it. You know, it's just a lot of people fish their style, and you know, I fish shallow most of the time, and that's kind of that. So a lot of times, those other people like that will find the same stuff. You know, there's no secrets. Yeah.
People stumble upon your spot, man.
Yeah, it's the way it goes. You know, I stumble upon somebody else's spot sometimes too. So whatever.
And that's why you got to be optimistic, mate. You know, hopefully I round this corner and I see Russ Snyder's. It's like,
exactly. I don't know. And I know if I go around the corner and see Russ Snyder's, I'm probably going to turn and go the other way.
There won't be any fish to catch.
Dude turtled and still won. I mean, I'm sorry.
He turtled, had gear stolen from him, like, and still came out swinging. The dude's he sold his soul to the devil. I'm starting to become more confident in that. Love you, Russ.
Possibly.
Well, let's actually back up from that. Since we haven't had either one of y'all on the show before, Josh, we'll start with you. How do you get into kayak fishing?
Well, I always bass fished, and I've been fishing since I was a kid, of course. From Middle Tennessee, and we moved down to Florida. Well, before we moved to Florida in 2015. 2014, I think, before we moved, I sold my bass boat. And the plan was I would just, you know, we'd move, we'd get everything. That's one less thing we had to haul down here, because we had to bring, you know, a household full of stuff. So I sold my bass boat, and then we got down here, and the intention was to buy another one and just, you know, continue on like it was. Well, we have a pond on our property. It's about 3 acres. And I guess I bought this. I went on Facebook and bought a Pelican for like $150, and I was just going to fish around in the pond. And so I fished around the pond that winter and had a good old time of that. And then there was the Forgotten Coast Kayak Classic or Big Bend Kayak Classic was in the spring, and they had a freshwater division, because I'm terrible at saltwater fishing, and that's, you know, everybody down here saltwater fishes. I do it just because it's fun. I'm getting better. I'm terrible at it now, but I'm going to get better at it. But so I was like, well, you know, they were giving away a kayak in the freshwater division. I was like, man, I can catch a bass. I'll go do that. So I signed up, and I went and fished one of the small lakes down here in McCullough County, the county I live in. and I caught one that was about 6 pounds, and it was like, it was really, it was a big fish tournament. So I ended up winning. I won a cacu. I won it. And then I got that. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And, that day I met some people. I met here and there other people that did it. And that's before you know it, I bought a Jackson, and I bought another Jackson. And, it's just gone downhill.
Yeah.
Or up. Well, I'm not sure which one it is.
It's a hill, just not sure which direction.
Yeah, but I've had a blast. The last 4, it's been almost 5 years now. The last 5 years fishing is been some of the most fun fishing I've ever had in my life. When I came down here, I didn't have any friends in the area. All my friends back home, of course, we bass fish together and stuff. Like, we fish together all the time. Stuff. And I came down here, and that was a way that I could fish and by myself. So really, my kids were just small to fish then and like that, and I was just fishing. And once I got into it, I was like, man, this is a blast. I don't really want another bass boat.
What kind of boat are you in now?
Hobie Outback. Same as Jason. Jason, actually, before I bought my Outback, I bought it after the tournament last year. I sent Jason some messages because he fishes out of an Outback, and and I was trying to decide between that and a Pro Angler, and some of his recommendations were really helpful.
Look at that.
We'll turn that right over to you, Jason. So then, how did you get into it?
Yeah, it's like the fishing thing. It started, 5 years old or something like that. But I think it was 2007 when I graduated college. I'd grown up watching all the fishing shows back around that time period. There was all these Hank Parker commercials with, Hobie Mirage Outback. I'm like, man, I really want one of those. And came home from graduation, and my mom had one under the garage for me. So it was a 2007 Hobie Outback, and after that, I went to Auburn, took it there. Fished around all the ponds. Fished the Chattahoochee when I was over there, and that was some of the best times I ever had floating down it and the Outback. But tournament fishing out of the kayak started 2010, doing some of the online 3-2-1 fish tournaments, and then IFA kayak tour was around then, and I did some of those 2010, and actually won one of the tournaments that year, and that just kind of lit the fire. And ever since then, I've been doing all the different kayak tournaments. 2014 is really, I think, when I got into more doing it freshwater. There was a KBF tournament on Santee, which is in South Carolina, and it's really my home water, although I'm not really great at fishing it, but there's some giants in there, and that was the first freshwater tournament, and ever since then it's been KBF, IBA, the Hobie Bass Open now, and the Bass Nation Kayak Series. I like the direction it's gone and all the opportunities we have now, and I've been ever since 2007 and doing it all out of the same kayak, a Hobie Outback, and to me it's one of the best boats to be in.
Kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. It's been working for you that long.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical when they made those modifications a couple years ago to it, but they just made it 1,000 times better. So it's the boat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they've been in the same boat for that long. That's very cool.
Even it not being freshwater, I don't think I've heard anybody talk about tournament fishing from a kayak at all that far back. So you're about as OG as it gets for tournament fishing in a boat.
Yeah,
that's stuck with it. That's impressive.
It's addicting. It costs some money now, but yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I think I've already racked up 10,000 miles this year. Just the Kissimmee tournaments, going to Seminole, checking it out a little bit, and then some just online stuff, moving around the state. Yeah, but something about it.
So for somebody who's going there this year that didn't fish last year, can you kind of just set up the lake, like explain the different arms, and because there's 2 different rivers, explain the layout of the lake to somebody?
I think Josh is closer. He might have a better perspective on that one.
I don't have a better perspective or what. Well, there's 2 main rivers, the Flint River and the Chattahoochee, and then the Flint River is to the east, and the Chattahoochee's to the west. And then you have really two main other tributaries. Well, I guess Fishpond Drain and Spring Creek that come in on the north side of the lake. The lake is everywhere that looks, there's not trees sticking up. That means all the trees are underneath the water. So there's stumps and trees everywhere. But that, in those stumps and trees everywhere, and the vegetation of the lake's covered with hydrilla, hyacinth, lily pads, peanut grass. I don't even know what the technical term is with that. I don't even know what that actually is called, Jason. Maybe you know.
I don't either.
They call it peanut grass. I don't know what it is. I actually tried to look it up, and I can't come up with a name for it. So, anyways, the lake's covered with all kinds of vegetation. There's milfoil. There's everything. So there's a lot of standing timber and things like that, and all that stuff is there's old ponds and drains and creeks and ditches all over the place, and it's just majority of it's fairly shallow, and that's about the rundown I can give it. So
you definitely have to watch out for stumps. I was
yes.
there Saturday, and the hardest I've ever ran into a stump, I ran into one going full steam. I mean, I slammed it head on. Yeah. I'm lucky I didn't break my drive.
Yeah, I've never been down there, but I've heard that, it's definitely, you have a lot of options when you're down there fishing. Yeah. And something that always messes me up, and maybe y'all can touch on, is, and this may not even be the deal. I'm not, anybody that's listening to this, I'm not saying, go fish tree stumps. That's what they're doing, because I would have no clue. But if that was the deal, with so much option throughout that whole lake of, submerged cover and vegetation, how do you break that down?
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah. It's all about transition zones and just finding areas where you get, the best of every world, where you can find like a bend hitting tree stumps, hydrilla mixed in with that, or something. You want as many different of those variables as possible kind of mixed in. You throw in current as well. If you get that going on a hard bottom with some hydrilla, with some stumps. Transitions, when you find stuff like that, and find it near highways where, if a fish can go up in a creek, they're going to follow, that deep water path however to get there. And when you find a creek bend with all that mixed in, the shallow water bite, when you can find that hyacinth mixed with hydrilla, mixed with some reeds, deep hard bottom under it, that's the type of stuff you're going to want to punch. It's all about finding that diversity of habitat, and just, you can pick your poison on the lake. You can drop shot 20, 30 feet of water around those trees. You can go punch. You can go throw a chatterbait along a grass edge. But for me, it's about finding that diversity of habitat and just transition zones.
Yeah.
This lake's a lot different, where there's a lot of stuff that isn't graphed, because I guess for the graphing boats, there's so much submerged trees and stumps and everything that they can't go in a lot of areas. So a lot of it isn't graphed and hidden on maps, so it's there's a lot of undiscovered stuff out there, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of times you look at the historical images on Google Earth and stuff, you can see a lot of those ditches and things like that, because over time the lake's changed. I wasn't here, but apparently, and you can tell by looking at the maps, some of those ditches have moved over and the ponds have changed and stuff like that. So, researching that stuff, those historical images, can really help out a lot.
That's awesome. Transitional zones. So when you're finding the combination of everything, are you finding that so that you can break down each individual piece of that, or is it just the fact that all of that is in one spot typically means that's where the fish are?
For me, I'm going to just kind of start fishing it and just hope they bite the way I want to fish, which is usually going to be throwing a chatterbait, ripping a square bill over the grass or something like that. But if that's not working, then I know, well, let me try flipping for a bit and see if that works, or let me try jerk bait, something a little bit slower, something just to spin and let sit for a bit. And if it's kind of a deep water near that type area, I'll drag a Carolina rig or a jig. But usually when I find areas like that, my go-to starting thing, no matter what type of scenario, it's usually throw a chatterbait. Hopefully they hit that. Throw a crankbait. Oh, they didn't hit that. So then doing the slow stuff and being
time
patient.
to drag a worm.
Yeah. And they'll hit the worm, they'll hit the lizard on that lake. And I don't like to do it, but if I have to, I mean, last year it got a 22 3/4, I think it was, and I had another big fish after that one. So I might, try to be a little bit more patient this year and do that a little bit more, but I'll definitely be slinging the chatterbait.
Oh yeah, always
Yeah.
got to start with chatterbait, man.
Yeah. I mean, those baits like that, it helps you, cover water. And there's so much water, the lake's so big, and there's so much habitat, and everything looks so good that you just kind of got to, and grass lakes, I've always found to be like that anyway. You might have 5 miles of grass line, and, especially like frog fishing or something like that, and you can go down through there and not catch any. In 100-yard stretch, you can catch 10. Those same areas, you find those small places like that. You take a big area, break it down into something smaller, and then go back and punch it or flip that stuff, and you can catch those fish like that and really milk it out. So, I think that on lakes that have a lot of cover, that's something that you have to cover a lot of water and find where they're holding on, what they're holding on. Anytime you get a bite, you just use that as a key to build upon,
and then pick it apart.
Yeah.
Something I'm super guilty of. When you get to a place like Lake Gunnersville, it's one of my favorite places to fish, but literally you could like throw a dart at a map of Lake Gunnersville. If you pull up on that spot, it's going to look good. That's how it is. I'm real guilty of going to that spot. And even though like based off my map study or what's been working, going all the way back into the left should be, where I should start. I just see so much and get so sidetracked. So like you said, I'm the guy that would commit to, going down 2 miles of a grass line, even though there's probably one piece of information I'm overlooking that could help me, dissect that down into 100-yard stretches and stuff like that. So, but like pieces of information, like Jason said, though, that's stuff people should keep in mind is, you really have to pay attention to the surroundings in the area, pay attention to what you're fishing on, fishing under. Killer information, man.
And the biggest thing is, you've heard the saying before, 90% of the fish live in 10% of the water. In reality, it's like 99% of the fish live in 1% of the water or less. So, like Josh said, you find the area, you kind of concentrate on it. There's a reason those fish are there. And if they're there, there's probably more there. They might not be hungry at the time. It might be a different species of fish, but at some point, more bass might show up there. And if you find them in an area, just concentrate on it. Try different things. If your luck's running out on a certain bait or something like that. But yeah, find those little key spots, those honey holes, and just concentrate on that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Seems like even more so with this lake, this lake more than others, it's that way. Like it's really feast or famine. Like you're either you found them or you didn't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, it's so huge and there's so much stuff. You think there'd be a fish behind every log.
Yeah.
Every stump out in the middle of nowhere, there's a stump out there. You think it'd be a fish, and there may be, but there's so many of them, you can't pick them apart and find them. Yeah. So, once you find one, you have to, put the pieces together and try to figure out why they're there, and then find other stuff like that. It's just totally setting up a pattern.
That's the perfect example of what I was talking about. Like I can't stand sometimes when I flip over a tree stump or a down tree and get a bite, because right then in my head, if this whole stretch is laydowns, I'm going to hit every single one of them. And, you may go 100 casts without another bite. And at that point, you're thinking back to the one you did catch and was like, well, crap, what's different? I don't know. So it's, a guy really told me, I mean, it's a simple piece of information that really works. Is, you can fish all day and not pay attention, but as soon as you feel that first thump, you need to pay attention to everything that's happening in that area. Take a mental note of, I mean, like that tree's a little deeper, or that tree's facing this way on the sun, the bite was on this side. It's little pieces of information like that you can hold on to. It'll go a long way. And on a lake, like I haven't fished Seminole before, but listening to y'all talk about it, and Dan has told me about it a few times, that's a lake where you have to pay attention, feast your famine, just like you said.
I think one thing looking at the forecast, how we, there's going to be rain, and you have to wait. Rain is rain. It is what it is. It's the weather is going to be what it is. But kind of a kayaker's worst nightmare is wind, and that's kind of the big concern. Saturday there's going to be some wind, but right now it's calling for 12-mile-per-hour winds and gusts of 23 out of the northwest. It did say 38. Like that's what it said yesterday. So that might have just been 38. It's crazy.
You'll find me tied to somebody's boat dock.
I think sometimes on those long range forecasts, depending on what you're looking on, they just kind of, it's kind of like their default 18 to 43 miles an hour if you get far out there. So when it comes down to it, it's going to be windy because it's been windy down here.
Yeah.
Lately, we've had 2 weeks of wind down here. So
yeah,
yesterday, it was windy as hell yesterday.
It was blowing me around. Yeah, I was out there. But the Saturday is like 8 with gusts to 12. But the 12 with gusts to 23. How do you think that's going to play? How do you think that's going to affect the fishing? Is it going to have everybody hot, and then like is everybody going to have to go hot up in the shallow and in that narrow, the skinny stuff?
Maybe. It just kind of depends on which direction it's blowing from and where they're fishing. Because it's still somewhat protected, but it's a flat area, so the whole area is pretty flat. So there's not a whole lot of protection, but some of that stuff will be somewhat protected.
It's been changing some too, to where like a few days before Sunday, it was saying one direction. Then it kind of changed a little, so it's not like in practice you can prepare for it.
Yeah.
But you kind of still have to fish everywhere because it could change a little bit, and then you didn't practice somewhere. Like let's say you want to fish the mouth of Spring Creek. You think that's going to be the deal. The wind's saying it's going to come out of the northwest, so you could fish up against the bank, a little bit further out deep. The mouth of Spring Creek, you could fish deep there. And then the wind kind of swaps a little bit out of the north, and then you can't. So, yeah, it's one
of those dilemmas that you're always going to have kayak fishing, especially in the spring. And that's just the way it is. The way I prepared for this, and I did the same thing last year. I found some stuff that was more open water, and then I tried to find stuff that was somewhat protected in case it happens, because it's springtime and it's going to be windy. So,
oh yeah, And I don't know how big the temperature swings have been down there, but I know as far as like our state, Alabama, we've been having some ridiculous temperature swings the last week. We had, like, I'm up North Alabama. We had I think it was 70 or 68 yesterday, and then we got snow flurries that night. And then it's been cold all day today and trying to snow all day. Now, I know it's not that extreme, right? It's not that extreme of a swap probably down there, but I've been trying to fish, and I know it's just a funk right now because you're going like pre and post frontal, and then it's just no stability across the board. And I know there's a lot of that going on in just the general area down here. Do you think that's going to affect the fishing down there and make it even more tough than you plan on?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be the same. I mean, you look at the forecast for this week, it's the same we had for the past 3 weeks. It hasn't changed a whole lot. It's actually warmer at night than it has been. So I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to make much difference. If it was going to get up to 80 degrees and then drop down to, 25 that night, but it's not going to do that. It's going to be in the 60s all week, looks like. And today was probably the coldest day. And, it's pretty much what we've had, more of the same. The redbud trees are blooming, starting to bloom down here. It's spring here now.
That's awesome.
Josh is knocking their heads in no matter what.
Do what?
You're knocking their heads in no matter what.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, the lake, anybody has the potential. The lake is potential to put out 125 inches. You know, you pull it at the right spot and you hit them at the right time. I have the ability to do it. Jason has the ability to do it. You do too. So, you know, he's just going to go fishing. Yeah, I mean, you know how to fish.
Clark caught like a 23 and a half the other day. Anybody can do it.
Yeah, it's just fishing.
Oh yeah,
it's not like none of us, you know, have ever been fishing before. Everybody that's doing this, and no one's showing up with a cane pole. So.
Man, I would love for somebody to beat everybody's butt with a cane pole, though. That would.
Hey, I mean, yeah, I was thinking the other day of like I was doing something. I was like, what would happen if I broke my arm and I couldn't fish Seminole? And then I thought I would just tie a buzz bait on the end of a cane pole and go up there and fish that.
Yep.
The fish I ever caught in my life was on a biggest bass I ever caught in my life was on a cane pole. A 10.5.
Jesus.
I
swear, a cane pole.
No, it was so big and so old. We were crappie fishing. It just came in. It was like, take me. You know, I'm old enough.
I have been chosen.
It was like it had seen God. It was ready. You know, it's like,
you know, talking about that. I just wanted to throw this out there. I saw. I think it's Emily Jackson, Eric Jackson's daughter. She cashed a check at Kissimmee in a recreational Jackson boat with just 2 rods and minimal gear. And, you know, I like all the gear and all the bad boats and all that cool stuff, but it's really cool to hear somebody like just go out there and just, you know, do so good with just so little. Just, I feel like hearing about that helps new people coming in not get discouraged from fishing in the big tournaments or anything like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a place in fishing for everyone.
That's right. Old jigger poling.
Yeah.
I love that.
Is that
something you don't see? Do what?
Can you jigger pole? Like go down the bank and
what I was taught and how we did it, it's hand carved baits with trebles.
Oh.
I don't see why it wouldn't be. You know, we weren't using live bait or anything. Brandon Watson, you know, he's on the dugout team. He's got some really cool videos of doing it with, I think, a bull shad.
Yeah.
And just tearing them up shallow. So it's definitely a method that works. I'd love to see some more people do that. We're going to get off on all sorts of tangents. That stuff gets me excited. It
sounds fun. I mean, maybe I've never tried it. I've always heard about it, and I've never actually tried it.
You feel stupid when you're doing it.
Across from the house one day this spring and give it a shot, and we'll see. So.
You feel stupid the first time you do it. You're sitting there tapping it in the water, like if you're trying to call up a shark or something. Then the first time you get a little bit of life, you go to running that bad boy back and forth. It works though.
There you go. Joey Randall got 6 on the Hobie B.O.S. with 1 rod and a Sun 128.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You ain't got to spend all the big money. You just got to show up.
A lot of days, you know, I sold the paddle jacks and I'm in the Hobie now. A lot of days I kind of miss that. I wish I hadn't sold it. I just kept it for certain things. But then, like yesterday, the wind was blowing 30 miles an hour, and I was like, yeah, screw that.
Yeah. You know, it's every year. The further I've got into this, I start getting to where, you know, when I'm getting ready to go out on a trip, like all of the gear and everything just makes it not as fun. Oh, I got to get all this stuff loaded up. Oh, I got to get all this put in the boat. And then I take it's like a cleansing. And then I went fishing 2 days ago and I took 2 rods. I took one 3600 Plano box and 1 little bag of plastics. And I mean, it wasn't a good day of fishing, but I enjoyed the heck out of myself. And, you know, by the end of this season, I'll be needing that again.
Yeah. Nicholas Beltran, too, in a 8-foot Lifetime and a Zebco rod and a pack of Zoom finesse worms. Yeah, and some of that, I mean, it's another tangent, but, you know, like there's a limit. You know, you want to have the nice stuff and all that, but you need to reel yourself in sometimes, and you don't get the 12 rods all the time. And,
I'm the same way with baits too, man. I'll be trying the new biggest, baddest whatever, and then by the end of that day, I'm still reaching back there getting the old Zooms I've had for 5 years out.
Yeah, I told my wife the other day, I was like, my goal this year, I'm not going to buy anything. I have like a whole locker that's completely
You should not have
plastic. I've
told her
been buying
that.
plastics for 25 years, and there's that crap in there that I've never even opened the bag, and I bought them 20 years ago. So,
It was a limited edition, discontinued, all in one.
yeah, I mean, yeah. And then I think, oh, maybe I'll go buy some more, but I think I'm going to just go in there and get stuff out, and like, I think they'll bite anything. I thought they would biting when I bought it, so I would imagine they still would.
Those are Tennessee baits. Now you live in Florida. You gotta.
Yeah, you gotta move to Florida, buy frogs, some swim baits, some speed worms, and go fishing.
All right. So besides big gyms, anywhere people need to stop while they're down there?
Yeah, the West Side Bait and Tackle. I was in there. It's a pretty nice little store. They're gonna have about everything you need fishing wise. Definitely stop in there.
Is that the one up by Bainbridge?
Yeah.
Like kind of by railroad tracks and industrial area?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went by there.
Probably the best baits tackle store in the whole area. Tallahassee sucks. Most people around here, they inshore fish. So they have selections. I mean, Kevin's Sporting Goods in Tallahassee is pretty good. Other than that, you got big box stores, but just the way it is.
Well, since Dan kind of touched on it, and this is the question people really always comment and ask later, what are some other good eats down there? You got a lot of foodies in the traveling.
Uncle Bill's Pizza is good. My kids are all excited because we hardly ever go to Bainbridge, so we ate there last year on the Friday before, and like pizza place. It's not that special to me. It's just a pizza place, but they're all excited about it because I said, "Hey, we're going to Uncle Bill's Friday," so they're happy. It's
What is it? Uncle Bill's?
Uncle Bill's Pizza. Yeah, it's just
Uncle
a pizza
Bill.
joint, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be about the only one I could suggest.
Uncle Bill, 2 for Uncle Bill's.
2 for Uncle Bill's.
Dang. Watch out, Uncle Bill's. You're about to get blown up.
Yeah, we're going up there Friday.
That's awesome.
I can't do pizza, man. I'll be out on the kayak next day.
Yeah, I was scared. Last year on Friday night, I told somebody, I was like, man, everybody here is going to eat that pizza that Hobie bought and get food poisoning, and I didn't eat it. And I'm going to be the only one that is able to fish, so I'm going to win. So that was my game plan Friday night.
See, maybe y'all had everybody's going to be saying they had gotten together before the show and talked about it and colluded and sent everybody to Uncle Bill's. And
well, I'm going to eat it, so,
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all guys. And we always want to give everybody an opportunity. You're coming on the show. Anybody that makes fishing, just like Josh from Dark Waters, I got this from him. I just want to give him a shout out because he says it this way. And I realize that I say it this way because he says it this way. Anybody that makes fishing easier for you. Josh, we'll start with you.
Boondocks is one of the only deals that I have, and they're pretty good for me. But Dugout, they were really good to me, and Dugout really caters to. I'm not on their team or anything like that, but they really cater to the bass fishing scene, especially in the kayak world. But they've done a lot of people right, and they did me right. That's where I bought my Hobie. We have dealers closer, but Jamie did a good job on that. So they really reach out, and he brought it down here to me. So you can't beat that. Yeah, it's hard to beat Dugout.
With a smile.
I wish we were closer. Actually, if Dugout was on the south side of Atlanta, I would probably go there.
They will ship you. Like they have all this. No matter they sponsor our section of podcast, but they will ship whatever to you too. So
yeah.
I mean, they can't ship a whole kayak to you, but I mean, you can pray.
They can. But you don't want to pay for it.
I would be surprised if you're anywhere in the southeast, you couldn't get somebody to bring a kayak to you from Dugout.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like all the parts, whatever it is, they can ship all that rods, all that stuff. They'll ship it to you.
Yeah.
Jason, how about you? I know, man, you are sponsored up, dude. You got a whole bunch of people you're working with.
Yeah, I think Hobie's been the longest relationship since 2014, being just a local team member, then regional team member a couple years ago. But Hobie, just making that Hobie Outback, it's set me straight and down the road to be successful. I think there's been places I can get into, in whether it's a tight spot or even a long distance spot 10 miles away. That kayak's built for doing everything, and so definitely Hobie, ram mounts, Ego fishing nets. I've been using those nets since 2010, and hopefully I get to put a couple big fish in it this weekend. And
they make the best nets. Tell everybody. Like I've been telling, I got the Ego S1. Hey, they don't sponsor me. That's the best net out there, for real.
Yeah, I mean the different net materials and the rubberized material, just being gentle on the fish, they float. Yeah. And I know a lot of people like that long handle net, but to me that just it kind of, I feel like I'm clumsy with a longer net, so I like that short handle, kayak landing Ego net, and just because once that fish, if I get that fish 3 foot from me or within 3 feet, I'm getting into the boat. Whether I have to go down and in the water and get him, if he gets that close to the net, he's coming in the boat.
There you go.
Definitely the best nets out there. Calico's fishing, keeping all my stuff straight, and less hooks getting caught on everything. Catch boards. I mean, those things are durable. They've been they're great. And a lot of other companies I've been using, pretty much since I've grown up. The pure fishing companies, the Abby Garcia reels, rods, all types of Berkeley products, lines, lures, and spider wire. It's been around a while, and I mean, I trust that stuff. Whether it's 65-pound test and that thick hyacinth I'm gonna be putting it in this weekend, or that light 15-pound braid and 10-pound leader I'll be using this weekend. But yeah, there's more companies, and they all have their way of making me more successful. But those are some of the bigger ones for sure.
Cool. Well, we sure do appreciate y'all, and
we could do a whole show on his sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when I looked at his list, I was like, Jesus Christ.
After that hoodie too, I saw Nicholas Beltran. He was commenting on your sweater there.
Yeah,
I want to get one of them reapers too.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome, and I just got the Hydronaut bibs, and yeah, those things are comfortable, especially on the shoulders. So AFCO makes a lot of cool stuff, and
yeah.
Cool. Well, you know what? I hope y'all get first and second. I'd be happy to take third to y'all. Y'all are great guys, and appreciate y'all being on. Good luck. Be safe out there, and I'll see you out there on the water.
Thank you. So appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, sounds good.
Be safe, guys. Later. There you go. All right. So we have some tournaments to talk about. Let me bring them up. My computer got mad at me here for a second. Just wanting to do an update, but I told it no.
I feel you, man. Mine does it all the time in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah.
It's time for an update.
Yeah, you can't stop it. All right. So, we have all the whole KBF. All the KBF tournaments. So
all the tournaments.
All the tournaments. First, we have the KBF Kissimmee Day 1, 145 anglers. John, I'm gonna say his name wrong. I'm sorry, John. Ferreria, Ferreria, 93 inches. Dennis Campbell, he had second with 92.5, and Matt Kiefer with 92 inches. And listen to his name. Listen to Matt Kiefer. All right, pay attention to his name whenever I go through all this. And then, KBF Kissimmee Trail Day 2, 131 anglers. So a few people said, hey, I'm not going to fish that Day 2. 14 people said, nah, I don't want to do Day 2. First, Russ Snyder, he turtled, lost some of his stuff, said, hey, I'm still going to win. So what? He won.
Cash check, man.
Yeah, gotta get that check, man. So 94.25. Matt Kiefer. Third, Day 1. Second, Day 2. 92 inches. Derek Brundle in third with 91.25. And then the Timvitational, 97 anglers. 97 anglers. Joshua Sharp with 184 and 3/4, 2 days. Joshua should have signed up for the trail deal too, man. I could have made some bank.
Took everybody's money.
Yeah, for real. Russ Snyder, 184 and a half. Matt Kiefer again, 184. So Matt Kiefer got third, second, and then third. So
that's a good weekend, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you averaged those out, if he had the best weekend. I don't know who made the most, but third, second, and third, that's
consistency, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, math. I'm going to add those up and divide them, and I think he probably had the best average of the weekend. I don't know money-wise if he won the most. He didn't make it to the 10, so I guess he didn't win the most money. But, yeah, great job, Matt. And then down in Texas, you had the Kayak Anglers Tournament Series on Decker Lake, 104 anglers, and this was a tough tournament. Half the field had 2 fish or less. Half the field.
Must have been cold in Texas.
Yeah, for real.
That's the only thing.
Steve Lebrecht, he killed him, slayed him, 98 and a quarter. Jason Benavide. Benevides. I'm just going to go with that. I'm from Mississippi. I'm sorry. 97 and a quarter, and Tyler Howell with 96 and 3/4. So those 3 guys knocked their heads in. And then TVKA, Tennessee Valley Kayak Anglers, Chattanooga. They were on Lake Chick. They had 41 anglers, 3 fish limit. Old Jordan Marshall slayed them with 97 and 3 fish limit, 97 and a half. Jarrett Campbell with 56 and 3/4, and Daniel Davis with a new PB of 23 inches. He had 53 and a quarter. Congrats to him. But yeah, that was it. So there you go. Good tournament.
It's starting to heat back up. We'll start having more tournament coverage. I think actually after this Hobie, I think is when most of the seasons are starting to fire up. Mid-February. So we'll have a whole bunch of stuff to go over.
Yeah, and hey, Josh, I meant to ask this too. Josh, I meant to ask him what it was going to take to win, and Josh said he thinks it's going to take 191. So a little bit more than last year. I think it was 187. I wrote it down. Last year it was 179. So he's saying 191. So
just
they
a
got
couple of good days, yeah.
Yeah, so almost 10 inches more. There we go. So cool. Another good show. We're back live. Next week, hopefully we'll see who we're going to be talking to. We kind of got some stuff in the works. So
we're going to try. We can just kind of put it out there. The reason we didn't cover the KBF winners is the 10's going on during the week this week, and we didn't want to bother anybody that, one of the guys that, like the guy that won the 10, we didn't want to, bother them. They're all enjoying themselves at the 10 house. So we'll get those guys on, get the winners of the trail day 1 and 2. It may be a week or 2 late, but we'll get them on and let them talk about it. Cause I know I want to hear all about that tournament. Cause like usual, I was supposed to go down there. Life gets in the way. I couldn't make it. So I'd like to hear the stories on how good the fishing was.
Yep. So we did Hobie a week early. Yeah. You don't want to bother somebody who's in the 10 house. They're getting ready to fish for 10 grand, and they're having fun in a mansion, hanging out with a bunch of guys, and they're getting ready to fish for 10 grand. You don't want to mess with some money. So, yep, good show, but happy to be back. Happy to be back live and ready to fish Hobie, ready to get it going and try to win some money, or just not skunk. That'd be great.
Do better than last year.
Catch one. I just want to catch one this year. Seminole, give me something this year. Just one. All right. But yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Thank you. Wear your PFDs. Be safe out there. Be good.
Thanks for tuning in this week, everybody. The Reel Down was brought to you by the Dugout Bait and Tackle in Marietta, Georgia. They have everything you need for your next fishing adventure, from rods, reel, line, and tackle, all the way up to Hobie fishing kayaks. They carry all your favorite brands like G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, and many, many more, as well as all of our best bait company. Give them a like and follow, and head on over to the Dugout Bait and Tackle today, and be sure and tell them that Paddle and Fin sent you.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle, the letter N, and fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle, the letter N, and fin at gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com.